What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Newfie Steve, back at it again, and today I'll be showing you guys my Hexblast build on Path of Exile 2, so let's dive in. Now, I'm going to go over the passives, the items, and the skill gems, and before we dive into that, I would like to say Hexblast is lacking, I feel. When you use Hexblast, it only takes away one curse, so that kind of lacks a little bit of damage. I wish it took away all the curses. It would make the Hexblast builds kind of a little bit more complicated because you would want to stack more curses. It gives you a better reason to stack curses. And also a lot of the support gems for Hexblast do not work. And one of the best examples I could give you is Spell Echo. If Hexblast had a working Spell Echo, it would make the skill 1,000 times better. So Hexblast definitely needs some work, but as of it is right now, it's pretty good. I like the gameplay. I'm also playing as a Blood Mage. So hopefully they do some more work on it in the near future. But that's it. We're going to dive into it. So first, we're going to quickly go over the skill gems. Starting out, we have Mana Tempest. This is just a big damage boost. It's mostly for the bosses. And we have Premeditation. For our Hexblast, we have Inspiration, Life Tap, and these two first ones are very important. Because we're also playing a mana build and our mana pool is like our life. So these two are very important. And we also have Concentrated Effect, Arcane Tempo, and Magnified Effect. We're also using Blasphemy. We are running 2 curses. And for our Blasphemy, we're using Conductivity. And the reason we're using Conductivity and not Despair is because most of our damage is actually lightning damage, and that comes from Archmage, which I'm going to get into in a second. And we also have Ritualistic Curse, which ups our curse effect. We also have Temporal Chains and Heightened Curse. Actually, Heightened Curse increases our curse effect, and this is area effect. And we also have Archmage. This gives our skills a lot of lightning damage. So non-channeling spells gain 8% of damage as extra lightning damage for each 100 maximum mana you have. So we have 2,700 maximum mana. So you can do the math. That's a lot of damage added. I'll turn it off right quick. So our Hexblast is at 120,000. When I turn off Archmage, we're at 49,000. So that's a huge difference. Archmage adds like 60% damage of our total damage. Essence Drain, you can do whatever you want with that. Contagion is the important one for me because we go with Persistence, and we also use Chaotic Freeze. So when we're fighting a boss, as usual, you cast Contagion right away, and you're going to start blasting, build up that freeze and to freeze the enemy. And we also get Swift Affliction. We also have Soul Offering. Because we are using 1 minion, so Soul Offering is also a big damage boost. This is also good for rares or bosses. And we also went with Ablation and Dense Macabre. And we also got the 1 Skeleton Warrior. We just gave him Meat Shield and Maim, which also slows enemies. So, but for our Blasphemy, we also went with Temporal Chains. And I'm going to get into these things now in a moment when we get into our passives and our jewels. But that's it for the skills. Now, for our passives, we went with Blood Mage. And the route I went is you take these 2 and you come all the way over here. You're going to take these critical hit nodes, critical hit damage bonus, critical hit. And Sunder the Flesh is a big one. Base critical hit chance for spells is 15%. This is huge. And when I got my last points, I went with these 2. You leech life with your spell damage. This is huge. This allows you to essentially stay alive almost forever, and it's great against bosses. Having the life leech is huge against bosses. It's a must-have. The problem is, before you get these last points, it's a struggle against a lot of the bosses in the end game, because you, in order to have, well, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to show you guys real quick. I have these gloves. Leech from critical hits is instant. So, having a high crit chance is very important, which we get a high crit chance from all these nodes. So in order to leech a lot of life, you also need these nodes here. But that's for the end game. We're gonna go into the big passive tree. We come up over this way, and you come over here, and you're gonna take these nodes here. This is for curse aura effect. So aura effects affect your curses. These are very important. And then I also come down here and took a couple of these nodes, just area of effect and more area effect and area damage. So that's very helpful. And then we also come up over here and we took these for the increased skill effect duration, which is, we don't really use a whole lot, but it's also good to have. The main reason is for this, Chronomancy. 20% increased skill effect duration, but debuffs you inflict have 10% increased slow magnitude. So we're always, with Blasphemies, we're always got debuffs on the enemies. And then we come up over this way. You're going to take some of these nodes, cast speed. Some of these are crit nodes. You're going to come up over here, and then you're going to take a left. And then you're going to come all the way over to, people call it MOM, mind over matter. All damage is taken from mana before life. So essentially, your mana pool is like your life. Because if you lose your mana pool, there's a good chance you're going to die. And then we came all the way down here to take 2 of these jewels. We also come up here to get another one. And then we came over here and we got these nodes. These are important. 6% increased effect of your curses. So the whole point of this build is to increase your curses effect. So our conductivity, I think, is at like almost 70%, I think. I'll dive into that later. But we're also going to take these nodes up here as well. Same reason for curse of duration, curse effect, all that good stuff. And we're also going to take Whispers of Doom. So this allows you to apply 2 curses. Now, another very important node up here is Eldritch Battery. Converts all energy shield to mana. And that's how we're getting a lot of mana as well from our energy shield. Another 2 nodes that are very important are these ones up here. Arcane Intensity, 3% increased spell damage per 100 maximum mana. So this is a lot like Archmage. It's huge. This is a must-have node. And we also came over here and took this one as well. 12% increased maximum mana. Also 10% increased mana cost of skills. This doesn't really affect us with the 10% increased mana cost of skills. So the 12% increased maximum mana is huge. And we also come up here and got this jewel node as well. And we're going to come down over here and we're going to take some more of these nodes. 3% increased effect of your curses. So these nodes are very important as well. We also come down here to get another jewel node, and we also came up this way to get a lot of critical nodes. A lot of these nodes are critical hit, critical bonus damage, and you also want to have this node Deadly Force. I do not have it on my passive skill tree right now because my amulet has this allocated. That's pretty well it. You're also going to come down over here to take these nodes because 20% increased area effect of curses. But the main one here is this one because it gives you so much. It gives you increased area effect of curses, and it gives you increased effect of your curses, and enemies you curse are hindered with 15% reduced movement speed. This is huge. This is a must-have. And that's pretty well it. Now for the jewels, I'm going to go over this a little bit. You're going to want jewels like this. The main part you want is like either increased critical hit chance or increased critical damage bonus. And you're going to want that with increased effect of your curses. So 5% is the max for these jewels. And you're also going to want the one that says 8% increased effect of auras from your aura skills. So Blasphemy turns your curses into aura skills. So you're kind of getting a double effect to your curses from jewels like this. Very important. This is how you're going to get your curse effects up over like 70 to 80%, which is huge for conductivity and temporal chains. So you also slow the enemies almost down to a point they can hardly move. I did take a couple different jewels right now. Let's see if we can find them. I took jewels with 15% increased amount of life leeched. And the reason I took this is because we do have some leech, but if you wanted to, you can replace all those jewels with these kind of jewels, with the 5% increased effect of your curses and the 8% increased effect of your auras. Now, for your auras, I think the maximum is 10%. So getting jewels with 5% and 10%, they can be pretty expensive. So you want to slot these type of jewels in almost everywhere you can. And that's pretty well it for the passive tree. Now, for the items, I'm going to start out with the gloves. This is the newer version of these gloves, because what's so great about these, not only do they allow you to leech from your critical hits, they also give, well, this pair only gives 37% increased critical hit chance. The maximum now is 50. I did re-roll my old gloves, which were 29% out of 30. So they were near perfect, but I got a pretty bad roll when I re-rolled them. So I am looking to replace these with like a 48 or 49 or even a 50% critical hit chance. These are a must-have because with our Blood Mage, we get a high critical hit chance. Let's go to Hexblast real quick. Our critical hit chance is at 73%. It's fairly high, but if you could get 80 or 90%, you're set. And it's very easy to get your critical hit chance up as a Blood Mage. The next piece, I went with a belt for the 3 charm slots. But the main reason, like most items, you're going to want, the most important thing is maximum mana. Because mana is going to increase your damage by a lot. It's very important to have increased maximum mana, but you're also going to want some things with life, because life helps too, and you want some resistances. So life, mana, and resistances. I only took the 3 charm slots just to get some magic find for this character, because it's hard to build in magic find in some of these slots. For the boots, you're going to want something similar: maximum mana, movement speed, and resistances. For the rings, you would want increased cast speed, very important on this build. So with your rings, you're going to want increased cast speed, you're going to want maximum mana, and resistances. Anything else is just a bonus. So as you can see on this other ring, I have something very similar: maximum mana, little life, cast speed, and resistances. And for the chest piece, I have an okay chest piece at a 600 ES. It's not bad. It could definitely be better. But you're going to want a lot of spirit on your chest piece, because to run 2 curses alone with just Blasphemy is 120. And then you're also going to need the Archmage, which is another 100. So you're definitely going to need some spirit. So I have 53 on this one. You're going to want some high ES and some resistances. If you can get mana on there, then great. And for the weapon, you're going to want something almost just like this. You're going to want something with high spell damage, maximum mana, +4 or +5 to chaos spell skills, high critical hit chance, and cast speed. If I was to take off this wand, as you can see, I go down to 43k from 120. And for the focus, another important one is you're going to want something with high spell damage, something very similar, high maximum mana, high critical hit chance, spell damage bonus, and high cast speed. These are all very important. So if I take off the focus, that's almost 60,000 gone. Now for the helm, you're going to want to use the Alpha's Howl, and the reason for this, as you can see, it gives 100 spirit. As you can see, I got one corrupted with 16% reduced attribute requirements. The reason for this is this helmet requires a lot of dexterity to wear. So without the corrupt, I think it's 118 dexterity. So you need 99 dexterity to wear this. But it's a very important part of the build. 100 spirit, it's going to help a lot. It also has very high cold resistance. So overall, this helmet is just a great helmet to have. And for the amulet, an amulet like this is very costly. You want something like this with spell damage. If you could get maximum mana instead of life, that's what I would do. You're going to need spirit. You're going to want plus $3 skills, and you're going to want critical hit chance. And anything else you get around that is just a bonus. It's up to you, but you're going to want something like that. And that's pretty well it for the items. I'm going to dive into a tier 15 or 16 or a 17 map. If I got it there, we're going to see. But that's it. It's pretty simple. I'm going to show you guys some gameplay. So I did have a node with area has +1 to monster levels. And we also have a tier 16 map. So this is pretty well a tier 17 map. Let's get into it. So, as you can see, this build is very powerful, especially with the life leech. I think you could see the numbers on the boss. I think at the end it got to like 2.5 mil, and it was still climbing. I think the highest I seen was like 4 mil, and it was still climbing at that point. So it's a very strong build. It could be a lot better, especially when they get the fixes in and allow the support gems to work for Hexblast. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and hit the subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.